Well, we're gonna watch, or I'm gonna watch and observe the bottom of the ninth inning. The Mets were winning in this game, uh, 3-2, and it's skunk Ryan Helsley gave up the lead. This guy's pitched terrible since they brought him in here. My goodness, he sucks, really. But you know, what's interesting about this game is they actually got some length out of Kota Senga. Was able to get the Mets into the sixth inning, and the bullpen pitched pretty good until the eighth inning. You know, when you have these kinds of like bad streaks, you cannot have your bullpen. You cannot have your bullpen pitching like this. I'll never forget in '99, the Mets had a bad losing streak, and end of May, early June, and Johnny Franco blew a game against the Reds, and that led to like an 8-game losing streak, and that's, of course, that famous moment when the Mets fired all the coaches at Yankee Stadium. Steve Phillips fired the coaches at Yankee Stadium. So, you know, now we got Pete up here in the ninth inning. Hopefully, drive this ball out of the ballpark and tie the game up. My goodness. And this is not, I don't know what's happened here, you know. And they said, you know, before, you know, I started this video, the Mets were 21 games over 500. They have 14, there'll be 14 games over 500 since that moment. This is how effing weird they are. They're such a strange group of players. They're so hot and cold. And they've been like this for years. And they brought in Iglesias to close the game out against the Mets. Ground ball to third. Great. 1 out. The Mets have not won a game in the ninth inning when they trailed after 8. Unbelievable. It's an unbelievable quirk of the season. Only 2 other teams, as far as I know, haven't done that. And that is the White Sox and the Orioles. And those teams have been bad, and the White Sox are terrible. And Jeff McNeil up is 2 for 6 against Iglesias. This could be a very quick ninth inning. Strike 1. You know, I mean, Senga pitched really well and got them into the 6th inning. He really did a good job. But Helsley's killing him. This bullpen's been killing him too, you know. And I'm going to mention this, and I haven't been doing videos the last couple of days. You know, all the pressure and all the hate is being dumped on Eric Chavez. No one was saying that about him last year. They weren't saying that about him in 2022. But you know who a guy has gotten away with the murder has been Jeremy Hefner. Jeremy Hefner's been here since 2020. I blame him, folks, for Jake not getting his 3rd Cy Young Award in 2020. McNeil struck out. You know, and I also blame him for the lack of effectiveness of Christian Scott with his command. Christian Scott had a reputation last year and in the minor leagues of being able to throw strikes and have command of his pitches and never walked anybody. First start was fine in Tampa, but then after that, the walks went through the roof. Every year, the Mets lead the league or top of the top of the league lead and walks. You cannot win when your team walks the ballpark. When your pitcher staff walks the ballpark, you cannot win. And that's 3 outs. That's a terrible loss. Terrible. And have it to where guys like fucking Michael Harris III, a piece of shit, and all these other guys on there. And this wife beater, Marcelo Zuna. Disgusting. And Mets had another chance again to cut the lead down on the Phillies, because the Phillies lost tonight in Washington, because they're a team that can't win on the road either, by the way. And they played terribly, and the Mets just can't catch them. Now they are half a game up on the Reds, and I said this a few weeks ago, that the Mets need to, folks, they need to stay away from this wild card situation. Okay, they need to find a way to win the division, and as simple as that. And they didn't. They have done this. So we're running out of games now. I am glad that Nolan McLean's going to pitch on Saturday. That's the first step. I would mention Brandon Sproat pitched tonight for Syracuse. He struggled. I don't have the numbers here on hand, but he did struggle tonight from the Syracuse club. Mets had 6 hits in this game. I mean, they made Elder look like Cy Young tonight. This guy's pitched terribly. And he won the game too. Terrible. Senga pitched well, lost 13 of their last 15 games. How are they going to win this? And you're going to be on, and I was looking at the schedule a couple minutes ago. Hold on a second. Let me get the schedule. Yeah, so I got my trusty schedule here. The Mets are going to be playing Seattle. Obviously, we know that. 3 games in Seattle. There's no pushover. They got great pitching. And, of course, the Mets will be playing on Sunday Night Baseball, Williamsport. And then they go to Washington. Washington gives them a headache. And, of course, they go back to Atlanta. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. They get the 7th hardest schedule going into the last 40-something games. Then they play the Phillies, and they play Miami because Miami's a pain in the ass. Then they go to Detroit, and then they play the Reds. This is going to be some tough schedule, folks, down the stretch. This is a very difficult schedule, and they're putting themselves on quite the hole here as we go deeper and deeper into the abyss. You know, they needed this game tonight. They failed. They failed. And I'm not one that's a screamer, and I don't scream. But this was a game they absolutely positively needed tonight. And unfortunately, they did not get it. And Seattle's not going to be, like I said, they're not a pushover. But the one good thing was we'll get a chance to see McLean pitch on Saturday. And then Washington next week. Then Atlanta again, which will be going to be tough. Atlanta's always tough down there. And we got the Phillies, the Miami Marlins, Detroit. It's the first series of September. You know, a team that's had a great year. Cincinnati. This is some road trip. This is a 10-game road trip, folks. Detroit, Cincinnati, and the Phillies. This thing could be over by the time we get to September 11th. Then the Rangers, then the Padres, then the Nationals, then the Cubs, who are fighting for their wild card lives as well. And then, of course, we finish with the Marlins. At least that's on the road this time. Let's finish on the road in Miami. But this is we're in deep trouble. This Mets team's in big trouble. You know, they needed this game tonight, and Helsley pitched poorly, walked the batter, of course, in the 8th inning. And again, this team has pitched so poorly over the last few years with the walks, with the falling behind the count. You can't win this way. And the idea that everyone wants to get Eric Chavez out of here, but no one is saying anything about Jeremy Hefner, who's been here to 4 managers. He's been here since they hired him with Beltran, Luis Rojas, Buck Showalter. They should have fired him when they fired Buck and started with a new pitching coach. But no, that was the one thing Stearns did when he came in here that I feel was a major mistake, because they kept him. And we saw that last year. They were walking the ballpark. And now, look, that last night was a disgusting game. I mean, that game was horrible. 7 walks in a game. 8 walks in the game. I mean, how do you win this way? And again, you know, Hefner has gotten away with... The Hefner pitching coach is more important than the hitting coach, quite frankly. Okay? And what has he shown these guys? I mean, I look at the result, okay? I don't look at all this other nonsense, all this gobbledygook, okay? What's the result? If a guy's constantly walking batters, and you're changing pitchers, and you're seeing pitchers that have been good in the past that have taken a step back. We've seen this a couple of times. Like I said, to start this video, Jacob deGrom had won 2 Cy Young Awards, and he took a step back with the Mets in 2020. I know it's a weird season, and he had just not a good September by his standard. And we've seen this, like I said, with Christian Scott, small samples here, but then you see the constant walks. I mean, coming into the game, Kodai Senga had walked 47 batters in 94 innings. I don't think he's ever walked that many batters in a season, at least per 9 innings. Very strange. And the idea, again, to me, that is if there is a person that should be let go after the season, It's the pitching coach. He's been here way too long. I don't know how he's been able to stay here for all these years and not get sent out of here. I thought he should have gotten sent out of here after Buck was fired, because the pitching was bad in 2023, and he had Hall of Fame pitchers on that staff, and they just couldn't figure it out. This guy just has a very difficult time figuring out with the talent that's on the field. I mean, you got all these Hall of Fame pitchers, and they all pitched worse. Jacob deGrom pitched worse in 2022. I mean, in 2020. Well, you're going to bring up 2021. I understand that. But in 23, they had the big pitching staff, and you had guys that did not pitch well. Okay, Hall of Fame pitchers, and they didn't pitch well. Constant home runs, constantly falling behind the count, constantly walking batters. You cannot win like that. I think it's a pretty obvious thing that if you can't those strikes, what is it that Tom Seaver always said? When he used to do the Met games, he used to broadcast the games all the time. I remember him saying, most important pitch of the game is the first pitch. The most important pitch to a batter is the first strike. Getting ahead in the count, and getting them when you fall behind the count, it puts you behind the 8 ball right away. It means you got to throw more pitches to get out of an inning, more pitches to get a batter out. And this team has successfully created a situation where they've made it very difficult for them to win. I've been reading a lot of stuff online. I don't pay attention to a lot of it. I like to make fun of it. I want to continue to do so. But the biggest culprit is, and I mentioned that, the season falls on the offense. There were times, especially early on, that they should have hit much better. But also you have a pitching staff that's constantly walking batters. And that will catch up to you. This is why the Mets have been getting their stars out by the 4th inning. That has got to be corrected. I don't know if they could. I don't think this pitching coach has the ability to do that. It's all about the result. In particular, pitching coaches are very important, more than any other position. More than when you talk about the hitting coach, it's easy to fire the hitting coach. Hitting coaches, it's the weirdest thing. But when it comes to that pitching, you need a very good pitching coach to help your staff out. And if you have a bad one, and then you have people making excuses, like people in the media, like little Andy Martino, making saying, "Well, he's going to come back," and people love him around the game. When there was a story that came out a couple of winters ago that people considered him to become a general manager, I said at the time, "Let him go." And I hate to be right. I mean, but it's going to be interesting. I'm a little nervous about McLean pitching under the tutelage of Jeremy Hefner, because he's pitched really well, and I hope that he does not take a step back and walk batters. His walk rate's been okay, and I have to double check, but he's been pretty good. But if it's high, it's because of Hefner. I don't know what the hell he's teaching them, to be honest with you. Very frustrating couple of days, or a couple of weeks, really. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong here. And you can't point fingers at any particular thing, but if you're going to fix something that has to be fixed, something that must be fixed, is the ability to throw strikes, the ability to throw that first strike, okay, and get ahead in the count. Okay, the one thing that we've noticed is that it seems like in every inning the Mets are falling behind the count to a lot of batters. So certainly saw that on Tuesday. Mets did enough tonight to win the game offensively, in my opinion. I know they made Bryce Elder look like a world beater, but they did enough tonight. They played a lot of small ball tonight. When they scored those runs on the stone base, that was a terrific inning. They worked hard. But then the dude that had the kind of game they had, and you see Helsley basically piss it away. It's very difficult. Now I would mention we do play tomorrow, so everything can change tomorrow. But the Mets have to throw first pitch strikes, get ahead in the count, take it from there. But right now everything is not working, so it's very difficult to watch this right now. And they're 14 games under 500 since they were 21 games over 500. That is very difficult to figure out. But I've been talking a lot about here on this channel that they are the streakiest Mets team that we've seen come around here in a long time. And they've been streaky for years. But they look like they look like the worst team in baseball, and then they'll flip a switch and they look like the best team. Now the weird thing about this season is that offensively they've not really gotten hot. Soto, his at bat tonight, his last at bat was not a great at bat. He had one pitch to hit and he swung right through it. But the sort of, aside from Peter Alonso, the offense on this team has been very inconsistent. It's been really bad. It's just bad, you know. I saw this thing a guy wrote online on X saying that the Mets should hire J.D. Martinez to be a special consultant. What is this nonsense? J.D. Martinez's value was being productive on the field, okay? He got old in the middle of the end of August and September. He was done. And that happens with players. Players will be in the middle of a season and they're done. I saw that with Howard Johnson. I saw that with Gary Carter. Gary Carter is a great example because Gary hit 8 home runs the first 6 weeks of the season and didn't hit a home run until August. I posted it on Facebook. But he went months without hitting a home run because his power was gone. Same thing with Martinez. Unless he's producing on the field, what is he going to provide in the clubhouse? Nothing. And another thing, people have been sort of mentioning here and there Jose Iglesias. Jose Iglesias wins above replacement is -5, okay? -5. He's cost the Padres games. His OPS plus is 76, when last year was 133. His OPS for his career is 90. People still pining for the OMG guy, not realizing what kind of player he is 36 years old. If the Mets do not win a playoff spot, there should be additions to this team that needs to be made, okay? And there has to be decisions made on some of the players that are here. The Mets have too much glut at third base. They have to figure out third base. Okay? I can't have young players sitting on the bench taking up space like Vientos been taking up space or Mauricio's been taking up space the last few days. That is not going to fly after this season. Dave Stearns has to make a decision on these players. And I said at the trade deadline, they needed to get another hitter in here to help this offense out. You couldn't just all with these young guys, hoping that you're going to get a little bit of this here and a little bit of that there. They're too inconsistent. Now, Beatty's gotten a little bit better. He's picked it up a little bit, but there's still problems here. And to be honest with you, some of the guys on the club are getting older, and I'm a little concerned, particularly of Lindor and Nimmo, and to a lesser extent McNeil, in terms of their production, because they're in their 30s. Pete, I'm not too concerned about the way he is. I don't think the production is going to drop much over the next few years. But you got guys in the middle infield, 2 in particular, that are in their 30s. They're taking a beating. Some of the things I've seen from Lindor is concerning to me. His defense has not been good. Nimmo's bat has at times looked slow. He goes through these deep droughts now, which he never did before. That's concerning to me. Same thing with Lindor. There's more of these long droughts where he doesn't consistently hit. And of course, McNeil, 33 years old. I mean, it's just there are a lot of decisions that need to be made in the off season if this falls apart. We're not there yet, obviously. We still got about, 121 games. We got 41 games left. So we still got plenty of time here. But they have to start thinking about, doing the things that I said they need to do. Most important thing is getting this starting staff and this pitching staff to throw fucking strikes. Enough of this nonsense of nibbling, going in. I also would say this last night, that the strike zone last night on Wednesday night was atrocious. That umpire is terrible. I hadn't talked about this, but the lady umpire that I guess made her debut. I would hope that she's better than these guys. Okay. And it's funny, all these guys are in great shape, but I've never seen a lazier group of umpires in my life than these umpires. I hope to God that this lady umpire is better than them. I wish her well. But the strike zone it has been atrocious. It was atrocious last night. It's been bad. I mean, when we get bad strike zones, they're usually really, really bad. I mean, Senga pitched well tonight. 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts, and a home run allowed. 61 strikes and for 93 pitches. That's pretty damn good. And 7 strikeouts. He looked good tonight, and he deserved better. We deserve better. You know. And what else will say? Carlos Mendoza should not be fired. Okay? People keep wanting to fire the manager. It's ridiculous. This is not his fault that this team has not been able to throw strikes. Okay? It's on the pitching coach that's been here way too long. He needs to go. We can't have this revolving door of managers. We've had 6 managers since 2019. Oh, let's see. Callaway, Mickey, Beltran, Rojas, Buck, and now, of course, Mendoza. Let's have had 5 managers in 6 years. You can't have that instability in the manager's office. Okay, and to cut this guy down after 2 years is just complete total ridiculousness. And they still have a winning record, obviously. But there is no reason to want him fired at all. That is insanity. That's Frank Fleming insanity to want to see the manager get fired. And people have been calling for him to lose his job. That account online that I went after today wants him fired. For whatever reason. I guess probably for clicks, but he's not going anywhere. He's a good manager. He knows he's doing a good job. Although I would say this, I thought that him bringing in Rogers was a little, I think his hook for saying was a little too quick. But be that as it may, he shouldn't be going anywhere. He doesn't deserve to be, and they're playing hard. I mean, they're playing with their heads down a lot of times, but this group is playing hard, and that's really an indication that he hasn't lost the room. Buck lost the room last year, 2 years ago, and Rojas never had the room. Rojas was totally ill-equipped to manage this team, but Mendoza's equipped to manage the team. And Buck lost the room and didn't care anymore. I think he was kind of just tired. You know, the first year was really good, and then I guess he got kind of worn out, with his age and stuff. But tough loss tonight. Very tough loss. As you know, this is a longer video than usual. Usually I do my videos, but there's a lot to unpack here. I've been very quiet the last few days. There should be videos up. I don't know about tomorrow, but there'll be a video on Friday, on Wednesday. I'll get the days right. On Saturday, and we'll talk about Nolan McLean, the Cowboy Ohtani, the Ohtani Cowboy. Hope he's not trying to hope he doesn't have I don't think he needs an interpreter. I don't think he needs an interpreter. Although having an interpreter to blame on, and gambling problems is pretty good. A fall guy. But, okay, on this side is a tough one tonight. I would mention, since I've done a little extra work for you folks, I hope that you send me a super thanks. You'll get the bell. That's a thank you. I don't know, again, who sent me a super thanks last week. I never got a notification for it. And I know it's on the video. I don't know who sent it to me. But if you sent it to me, send me another one. But want to thank you for coming by. We'll get through this. Hopefully the Mets will turn this thing around. But boy, they put themselves in a very peculiar, very dangerous spot now. This is getting scary now. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.